Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, it's your girl Sunny D. I got Clint and Kenya on the radio on the show today, our extra co-hosts. I'm sorry, I'm a little stumbling tonight, but we want to welcome everybody to the show. The topic for tonight will be the 2016 presidential debate candidates. That we're doing the top primary candidates, so we're not going to do all of them. If you want to call and talk to us and chime in on the show, you can call us at 657-383-1155, and definitely go visit our website, www.gftradioshow.wordpress.com. And again, the topic of tonight is the 2016 presidential debate, and we're talking about the top primary candidates. So we're going to ask Kenya to chime in so she can introduce the Democratic presidential primary candidates. Kenya?
Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna start today's show with first of all just making sure that even though we have a lot of shows that are really popular and they're fun and we're having a good time, it's going to be up to us to be able to keep our people informed and know why it's absolutely necessary that we do engage in everything that's going on with the country and exercise our right to vote, because this is inevitably going to affect us. So we're not going to spend a whole bunch of time tonight on each candidate. As Sarita said, will be the top one. So for us, with our Democratic presidential primaries, we have Hillary Clinton, we have Mr. Bernie Sanders, we have Martin O'Malley, who is actually the former mayor of Baltimore, as well as the governor of the entire state of Maryland, and Mr. Lawrence Lessig. Hillary Clinton, for one, we all know her as Bill Clinton's wife. She is also the former Secretary of State. And her stance has been for financial reform, criminal justice reform, disability rights, LGBT equality, gun violence. And a lot of it also, even though they focused a lot on her emails, one of her stances is also for national security and the rural community issues that we're having, as in our communities. Mr. Bernie Sanders is a U.S. Senator, and he actually was the former mayor for Burlington, Vermont. So he's also about free college tuition, getting a lot of the millionaires that are in Congress out of politics in general. His stance basically was just that there's too much money there. And we've had discussions before about Republicans having control of the House and why a lot of our laws and a lot of things that would benefit us don't get passed. Mr. Martin O'Malley, as I said, he was a former mayor of Baltimore and the governor of the state of Maryland. His stance is on free trade agreements for trade competition, also financial reform, clean energy, gun reform. That's a biggie, and we've had a lot of issues with that, whether it's happening in our schools due to mental illness. We see it every day in our communities, so that's huge. Expanding on Social Security, and also criminal justice reform. Mr. Lawrence Lessig, he's one of the most important ones to me, because I think with so much that's been going on in the government, it's nice to have someone who isn't a politician run for office, because I feel like he would be more for the people. This is the average, everyday man, well, not average because he is a Harvard Law School professor, but just what I mean is that he doesn't have that experience where we're wondering if he has some motive to be running for office. And a lot of times we say politicians will be politicians. But I like Mr. Lessig because I do feel like he's one of us, and we need to get somebody in there who, for me, a lot of times the average everyday person seems to have more common sense than the people who are in power, and it throws everything off. So I'm excited for him. Like I said, we don't have too much time for the show, but I wanted to be able to just introduce the top primaries, because these are the people that, as Democrats, we have to focus on. You have to know who it is you want to vote for. More importantly, you got to know what they're standing for, how it's going to affect you, so you're not going to these polls and just randomly picking someone. And follow the debate. The next Democratic debate is actually tomorrow night at 8 p.m. You'll be able to find it on your local listings. I'm not sure where everybody is calling from, but we do have a lot of callers from all over the place, and we're grateful for that. Check your local listings and make sure you guys stay informed. I'm going to pass it over now to Clinton and Sarita, who are going to go over our Republican presidential primaries.
Hey, how y'all doing out there? This is Clint. As far as the Republicans go, you know, there's a handful, more than a handful, of people trying to run for the get the Republican nomination for president. Today we're only going to talk about the top ones, like Kenya did with the Democrat. You know, the top four as of right now from the September poll are Donald Trump, Ben Carson, Marco Rubio, and John Kasich. I want to talk about Marco Rubio for a second. He's a decent candidate. You know, I like the fact that he's pro-gun. You know, I'm pro-gun. You know, I mean, pro-Second Amendment. He really stands by that. He's really a stickler for that. Also, the one thing I have an issue with him with is I'm pro-union. He's not really pro-union, and he's had a lot of issues with the unions coming into the debate. I know he had an appearance at one show, like I think it was like a fire department, international. He was having something for the fire department in his state, and when he came on stage, he really wasn't received too well. Him or Ted Cruz, they were both there, and they both had issues with the unions. Also, you know, him and John Kasich, they both are very Second Amendment, because John Kasich, what I like about him is he respects the sanctity of human life. You know what I mean? He's against abortion. You know what I mean? That's one of the things I'm against as well. You know what I mean? Unless it's, you know, the woman's health is at risk. You know, so he's the governor of Ohio. You know, he has done a lot in Ohio to encourage adoption over abortion, which I think is cool. You know what I mean? I think, you know, a lot of kids out there should be adopted instead of being aborted. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I know Marco Rubio is against Common Core, that Common Core education, to where, you know, how the whole nation should have like just one uniform set up situation for education that every state should follow. Now, I mean, he's more so, now, I mean, like each state should come up with their own, you know, their own sort of educational system, so to speak, instead of just having one national curriculum. I mean, that's not the best way. You know, I also want to talk on, you know, since I'm from Jersey, to all the listeners out there, you know, the governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie, is running for president as well. You know, there's a Republican debate that comes on Tuesday. He's off the main stage because his polling is too low, and he off the stage is where he needs to be, because New Jersey is in shambles right now.
Amen.
And he's one of the main reasons and culprits. He's nothing but a big bully, you know, I mean, a blowhard, just a loud mouth. I mean, this is my personal opinions. You feel me? So I'm glad that the public is starting to see him for what he is. I can't believe that they voted him in again as governor in New Jersey, which has baffled me. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that pretty soon I think he's going to suspend his campaign, because I don't think he should know that he doesn't have a chance, not a chance in hell to win. You know, Sarita, you want to chime in with
Christy?
Or Christy, or you want to talk about Carson?
Yes, I'm gonna. I want to talk about Carson first because of what you said about John Kasich, I believe.
Yeah.
As far as his Common Core, he's Ben Carson is against that as well. And most of you know Ben Carson. He's the former director of pediatrics. He a lot of his things, I've been watching him. I've been hearing a lot of his name in the news and been following a little bit what's going on with him. And a lot of his interviews have been absolutely horrible. So at first glance and hearing all his interviews and seeing the things that, that's been going on the internet, you kind of get wrapped up in that. But I'm actually glad I kind of researched him. Still not, he wouldn't get my vote, but some things I am surprised that I agree with. As like I said, as far as the Common Core, I believe that's an absolute that he's against that. I agree with that because as parents, you want your kids. I believe that parents should be a part of their kids' education and that it should focus on what's good for that school. We shouldn't have to do what everyone else is doing. It should be something that works for that school to help these kids learn. Each school is different. All students are different. No one is alike. So I'm for that in his regard as far as he is on that issue. Also, he's one of the people that's for the Second Amendment too, and I agree with that. Everyone that is of sound mind and are able to get bear arms should be able to have that afforded to them. They shouldn't be told that because people are using guns to do horrendous things, it doesn't mean that everybody is like everyone else. So I agree. The Second Amendment should stand as it is, and it shouldn't change. One other good thing that I do like that he likes is keeping the faith in our society because, back in the day we prayed in school and we did those type of things, and whereas now it's prayer is kind of you can't do that because someone gets offended. And he basically saying he respects everyone's religion, and he asks that you respect other people's religions and not, take it as a personal attack on you or just, acknowledge it and move on because the Declaration of Independence acknowledges that we have a creator, someone who created this earth. And so, we should acknowledge that person and we shouldn't be made to hide, our beliefs. Everyone should be able to believe how they feel, and be able to bring their faith into their public, but not in a. And I don't know if he takes it this way, but I don't want people to say, take that too literal where they have to have their faith in everything they do. Like if you have a job, you have to do it. Certain things like that. That's the only thing right there. The only thing I can say about him that I don't agree with, well, I can't really say I don't agree with, I have an issue with, is he also is pro-life, and I get it. And as a doctor, he says that's why he believes that, that's why he has that, that's why he feels the way he feels on that issue, because he was a pediatrician, he dealt with kids. And I get that, but I'm also pro-choice. I understand that every person's situation is different, and I don't think that abortion is the key to help you not have babies, but in certain situations I could understand someone wanting to get one as far as if they were raped and stuff, things of that nature, and produce a child out of that situation. I understand that too. But then you also have the option to adopt too. But I think the woman should have a right to choose. So I'm kind of against him on that one. That's pretty much, he has a couple other ones that I'm not really fond of, but,
I know,
big Parson. Go ahead.
I know two things that Marco Rubio and John Kasich, most of the Republicans, they want to repeal the Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. That's big with them. I think, me personally, I have an issue with that, with all of them, because I believe in universal health care. I believe everybody should have access to health care.
Yes.
I see no reason why we can't have the same sort of system as Canada or something like that, to where, everybody's covered. If they're sort of against it, it sort of, to me, seems more money motivated than anything. And, that's one, those are a couple issues I have with the Republicans as a whole, because all of them want to do away with the Obamacare. And I think, I've known people personally who have it, and love it, You know what I mean? Because it wouldn't be no other way they can get health care without it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know, now they're taxing you if you don't have health care.
Right.
You feel me? You know what I mean? You get penalized.
Was it $700?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy to me. Like, that's
because
crazy.
but you know, you look at it like this. You got a lot of people that are sick that use up. You know, hospitals have charity care. They have free clinics, so that. But even that doesn't get you as far. You get you get billed for getting Advil from a hospital like $500. Like, you know, you could have bought Advil. You know, not saying that literally, but you know, just kind of you know, you go in there for X-ray, it's like $1,000, and you get that bill, you can't afford it. So yeah, you got to bring your own stuff. I remember, no kidding. I remember going to the hospital for my son, and the doctor did nothing but look at him, tell me what was wrong with him, and we left. I got a bill. I was like, what? But thankfully I worked, but, you know, it was just like, what the hell? Really? You didn't do anything.
Right.
I wrote on the paper. I gave you a paper. They checked his temperature and his vitals. He went to the back. You didn't give him anything. You didn't do anything. You talked to me, and we left. And you get a bill, and he's like, what did you do?
Exactly.
But before we get all into that, I want to touch with Donald Trump now. Everybody knows I'm Donald Trump. I don't need to say anymore. You've seen interviews. You pretty much heard him say the most randomest things, flirting around, borderline racist, but, you know, that's just my opinion. But as far as him on the issues, he has maybe 4 issues: Veterans Administrative Reform, tax reform, Second Amendment reform, and immigration. I know you're not surprised by immigration. He basically want to build a wall so nobody can get in because the immigrants are messing up our world. Those are his words, not mine. But I don't agree with that. I think the immigration needs some tinkering, but I don't think that you should build a wall because we're not, like, his line is, a nation without borders is not a nation. Like, what? What do you mean? Like, he wants to build a wall. Like, why? Like, I don't understand him in that way. The only thing I can say that I agree with him on, Second Amendment. I really can't see myself agreeing with too much with him on it because, I mean, I don't really think I think he's just one of the people that has a lot of money and just talks a good game, but he doesn't really know what he's doing. So I can't see him getting my vote or many people. But you'd be surprised. I go to work and we talk about politics even though we shouldn't. And a lot of people like him because he's not a politician. He has his own money. He's running his own campaign. He's not getting money donated to him. He's not saying what people want him to say. He's saying whatever the heck is on his mind, and he doesn't care. Like, he's basically putting on a show, and everybody's been watching, and that's why he is in the top 4 because he's like a reality TV show. He's basically a reality TV show. Yeah. And he goes on and make this big to-do, and everybody's like, oh, he's crazy, but I like watching it, so therefore that's why he's still there. I think he should exit stage left right along with Christie. But, you know.
Yeah. I want to ask Kenya something.
Yeah.
If, going back to the Democrats real quick.
Uh-huh.
If you may, if you want to answer.
Sure.
Who would be your pick to come out? Not to say who you would vote for, but who you think is going to come out for the Democrats?
I think when it comes down to it, the top 2 runners would be Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. And I say that because me personally, not that any of them have really said something so significant for me where I can say, oh, man, yeah, they got a chance of winning. Like I said, I like Lawrence Lessig because he is the average American, and I don't see an ulterior motive for him. The rest of them are already politicians. I've already seen Martin O'Malley make tons and tons and tons of promises for the residents of Maryland, and we not see any of them come to fruition. So having been here, I don't have a hatred for Martin O'Malley. Like not a hatred, that's a strong word. I don't have a dislike, for Martin O'Malley in the same way that I have a dislike for Governor Christie as a native of New Jersey. But being a resident of Maryland, there are a lot of things that Martin O'Malley was not able to accomplish while he was in office, and he kind of just stood idly by that he promised would happen with the education and with the policing in the communities and things of that nature. That still has not come to fruition. As a matter of fact, you guys are well aware of the Baltimore riots that just happened. Those things happened, with the new mayor in place, but that was already happening when he was there and when Governor Ehrlich was there. But that's, I digress. That's my reason for not really thinking that Martin O'Malley wouldn't be in the top two. Lawrence Lessig, I just don't think people are going to give him the chance that he deserves because he doesn't have the experience of everybody else. And a lot of times that turns people off because I think it turns them on because he's not a politician, but I also think it turns it off and he kind of gets muted because he doesn't have that experience behind him. So I feel like they're going to give him a hard time because of that. Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, they've been at this repeatedly. They've been in these kinds of predicaments, for the longest of time. Bernie Sanders is still a senator. And Hillary Clinton just stepped down from her role as Secretary of State. So she's very, very informed about running for this particular this race. So I think that they would be your top two for Democrats.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm a huge Bernie Sanders fan as far as Democrats go. I just like Bernie because Bernie talked that talk.
Oh yeah.
Bernie talked that talk. And he's not afraid to talk about the racial divide. I've seen him speak on it plenty of times. The race issue in America. I know a lot of these politicians, especially on the Republican side, try to skirt around that issue.
Yeah.
Like it's not even there. I know with Sarita, Sonny was talking about Ben Carson. Ben Carson, one of the main ones. As a black man, you would think.
And he would understand?
He would understand, yeah. But it seems like whenever the topic of race comes up, he tried to just put on a show,
right,
for the white Americans. Like, right. Basically his thing is get over it, get past it. Not holding us back. Like, that's a lie. You feel me? Like, the effects is obvious. Everybody can see them.
Right.
Especially if you live in it. So for him to just try to dismiss it the way he does, I have a real issue with that. And this is coming from, so I was a huge Ben Carson fan.
Yeah, me too.
As far as about 2-3 years ago. Like I'm so serious. Like, if Ben Carson, if you would have put, 2-3 years ago, if you would have put Ben Carson and Obama on the same ticket going against each other, Ben Carson would have had my vote.
Mm.
Easily over Obama.
Mm.
You know what I mean? As of right now, I almost don't even want to see him on the ticket.
But you know what's weird though? Even when he was doing the whole race thing, it came out of left field because it was like, here you are trying to talk about current events and what's happening, I guess, in the news and all of that. But when he said it, it was kind of like, well, nobody's even talking about that right now. Like, what made you just come out of nowhere and say anything about reparations and getting past slavery and the whole race thing? It came up like, let me go ahead and just spin this off right quick and get more people to listen to me. Because the white people that's up there, they thinking it.
Yeah.
But ain't nobody thinking all that.
But that's the thing. He figured But this is what I got from him. This is me not really paying attention to him any time up until he just started saying things. He's almost like the black version of Donald Trump.
Yeah, right.
He says things, and you don't think before you say them. And even if that's how you feel, and you got to understand, as black people, and as a black person running for the president, we heard you had a high regard. It's not that we want to, and like I recently caught a newscast where basically they had a debate about the issues that been going on with the racial tension, and one of the lady, the newscaster said we have a chip on our shoulder.
Right.
And to me, it's like, I understand that, because we're black and we feel the way we feel, but we feel this way for a reason. It's not just some made-up reason. Racism is present today. It's the same present as it was back then. Even if you want to say, oh, well, we're not in slavery anymore, it's still racism currently. It's the same one that it was back then. It's just covered up. Right. And for him as a black person to go and say something like that, it's like stabbing us right in the back. Like, how do you do that? You can, how do you do that on national TV for one, and then want our votes? Like, how? You need to take exit stage left, too, because how, at this point, who's going to vote for you? But then again, you have some black people that think the same way he do.
Right.
So they're going to vote for him.
And I think it's also, an important mention, just really quick before I say that, even when it comes to immigration reform, I'm not against it, but I feel like this. I feel like if you're going to allow people to be here, that they do need to have a time limit to get their paperwork together, because we have to have our paperwork together. There's nothing that we can do here as natural citizens without the proper paperwork. So having people here that are not from here without paperwork isn't fair to everybody else. So I do believe that there needs to be reform, and it needs to be in the sense of, if you're going to be here, because a lot of people come here, just out of wanting to be safe, and there's tons of things happening where they're from, and they want to bring their furniture. I get it. But if you can't come here and be under the same rules as everybody else, then you shouldn't be here, point blank, period. Because then they're taking away from us. They come here, they don't have to pay for school, they're not paying for health care and all that stuff. That's not fair to us, because that's what we vote for, so that we can get a better, get on an easier playing field with those things, because we have to pay for it.
Yeah,
and I think that,
a lot of the immigrants are taking, like Donald Trump mentioned that they take everything from his jobs and blah, blah, and I get it. But I can go walk right to McDonald's. Half the people that work at McDonald's, if they're not black, they're of immigrant. They're from like Mexico. They're from they're not overseas. That's not overseas. You guys know what I mean. But they're coming here and they're working jobs like that, and then you have them doing migrant work, I agree with you, Kenya, too. Like, they have to, if we're going to be held accountable to have certain things, they should be accountable for the same things we are. If you want to come live here, you have to follow by the same rules we follow by, or you can't be here. But I don't think that just saying that they're like stereotyping them, like he may feel the same way you feel, or how he may be coming from the same way we're coming from. They have to have the same thing we have, but your mouth said something different.
Right.
You made a point, but then you crushed it by doing that.
Yeah.
But,
and I just want to let everybody know that while we're having these debates, this is the reason why you have to vote, because you're not voting is the same as you voting for someone who ends up in office that you don't want to see there. So you have to vote.
Yeah, I get so many people that don't. I know so many people that don't vote, and I don't understand why. Like, especially as a black person or as a woman, do you know how hard people fought for you to get your rights? I'm talking blood, sweat, and tears, and for black people, it was on the brink of death. You didn't know what you were walking into just for us to be able to vote, just to get that right to be able to vote. And it was our ancestors fought so hard for us. So it's like you're slapping them in the face for all their hard work. Like, how dare you? And like I said, women were not vote still.
Yeah, you can't complain about the system if you're not doing nothing to affect the system.
Yeah.
So
right.
if you have an issue with the system, now I mean, they're giving you a voice to put the right people in a position
Right.
to change the system. Now, if you don't take advantage of that, that's on you. So to all the people out there who are always complaining about, man, my vote don't count. Well, as long as you feel that way, you're going to keep getting the
it's
same
never going to count.
results.
Exactly.
Nah,
That's the thing. That's the thing you hear so much of people, well, my one vote, every vote is like your voice being heard. It takes multiple, like that's like Martin Luther King and trying to do a march by themselves. It's hard with one to get attention. You can't ignore millions. So that's how much your vote is helping. Is accompanied with millions of others, and it's affecting change. You can't affect change with one person. You can try, but it's going to be a struggle, you know?
Yeah.
So you got to kind of push for it yourself. And a lot of people, like I said, I get people I work with every day, I don't vote. I don't even follow anything. And, I may not know everything about the candidates, but I make the effort to go vote.
Yeah.
I try to find out what I can find out, and then I make a vote. Like, I'm not going to not vote because I don't, I just feel like, oh, well, no. I feel like my vote counts for something. And even
right.
how, Christie got elected for governor because a lot of people didn't vote. Y'all,
exactly.
Ignorance is not an excuse for not voting.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, well, I don't care. And then guess what happens? Everything changes. Like, especially with our state workers. Everything changed. And y'all complained about it, and guess what? He's still in office.
Exactly.
You have to make your voice heard to make a change.
The people out there who claim, because I was having this discussion with my mother the other day because we had the general election here in Trenton, and it was like, well, I don't know who these people are. That's the response I got. I don't know who these people are. And my thing is, it's our job to know who these people are.
Right.
But you know what? But you know what's too crazy? You know what's too funny too? I didn't hear about a lot of the people that were on that ballot until the week prior. And I think that, like, you can see the poster signs are hanging up, but I think you need to make, as much as we have presidential commercials, we should have local stuff going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, because it's not. I mean, you see the signs hanging up. You hear little bits and pieces, but you don't.
But it's also up to us
to research
find
it.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. To go who is. Your council. You gotta know who's on your city council. You gotta know your freeholders. They have all these things. These is people. Your county executives. You got to know these names. These people are making laws, or they're in the ear of the people who are making laws.
Yeah.
So we have to stay vigilant as a people, everybody. To know what's going on in this process, or nothing's going to change. I know y'all was on fire with the immigration talk.
Yeah.
That's one of the main things in the country. That's every poll I done seen, like, is either one or two.
Yeah.
It's either one or two as far as the importance for the American public. It's either that or the ISIS.
Yeah.
Or the army. Because the Republicans feel like Obama has weakened our army, our military, I should say.
Yeah.
Whether they're right or wrong, who knows? That's a debate that could go on forever too. But I know that's one. Them two is the major issues out there.
Yeah. Well, all right, guys. We glad that you guys tuned in. We didn't get any callers. A little sad face there, but our next show will be what day? I'm sorry, November 19th, and we want you guys to pick the topic that we're going to talk about that night. So we want you to email us at gftradioshow@gmail.com. You can hit us up on our Facebook page, GTF Radio Show. on Facebook, or you could tweet any of us.
GFT.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I messed up the name again. I'm sorry. But feel free to hit us up any way you see necessary. We have Twitter. I'm at IamSunny_D. Clint is at E Trenton Grooming.
E Trenton Grooming.
Yes, and Jabril, even though he's not on the show today, you can at him at JRO609 on Twitter, and hit our Facebook page or email us and let us know what you want us to talk about next week. Thank you for tuning in again, and we'll catch you on the 19th. Have a good night.
Thank you, everybody. If you ain't registered, go get registered.
Yes.
Good night.